Now in video 7, it's time to put the rubber to the road, take the training wheels off, and start using Twitter. We're going to read and reply to some tweets, and plus we're also going to cover, for those who care, a little bit about Twitter etiquette. So let's go ahead and get started on this one. Now let's go ahead and jump right on into it and log into our Twitter page. Go ahead and click on sign in. And looky. Now, if you recall, in our last video, we went to a couple of gardener type individuals or tweeples, and we started clicking on some of the following links under their followers. And as a result, well, you can see what's happened overnight. It's actually about 12 hours ago. So you can see the methods that we used in our prior video. The methods that we used to acquire followers obviously worked. And that's just one thing you just rinse and repeat. You just keep that up and you're going to increase your marketing power immensely. We're not going to go much into that because what I want to do today is actually read some tweets and reply to some tweets and go over some other techniques in making your replying a lot easier, especially for those that, like myself, lack the imagination to be able to type 140 characters or less. Here's one thing I want to point out. First off, just read some of the tweets in here. Oh, let me see here. Let me see. Okay, well, let's see who's got a lot of tweets going. Well, let's just go ahead and see what we got here. Tweeps of the world, please consider donations to Special Olympics. Always a good cause. Naturally spun. Made a nice little goth treasury in honor of my new yarn. Well, that's good. And you can click on some of their links here. Let me see. Craig Tech. Hi Craig, have a laugh at this story about Stephen Fry's tweeting while stuck in a lift. And I'd imagine across the pond a lift means elevator or escalator. It's been a while since I've been to England, so I forget. So let me see here. Let's see what they got to say. This is mad. I'm stuck in a lift. Stephen Fry twitters. Okay, it's an elevator. Yep, and he's got his phone camera. Darn those phone cameras. At least that's what Mark Phelps thinks. Ain't he the idiot? Okay, enough of that. So yeah, you can see technology is everywhere. Now let's go ahead and get on back here. And let's go ahead and reply to this one. Now you see right here, this was only posted 14 minutes ago. And how do you reply? No, and another thing too, this was from TweetDeck. That's one of the tools we are going to investigate in an upcoming video. You see, this one was just from the web, which is what we will be doing. Another one from TweetDeck. You can see a lot of the applications that are in use here today. All these are obviously going to be from TweetDeck, from web, from TweetDeck, from web. Let me see if I can find another one in here. Because you can post from Twitter feed. Now this Twitter feed, this is one, and I'm not sure if this is the case with this particular tweet, but Twitter feed is one in which you can program or install or input several snippets or several tweets and schedule those tweets to be, spit out, for lack of a better word, on a timed basis. So, if you don't have the time, maybe once a week you'll throw in 30 particular little snippets of info, and you're off on your vacation while you're actually submitting these tweets. A lot can be said about that. Anyway, so let's go ahead and reply. Now, what you can do as far as replying to a particular tweet, over here on the far right, you've got this star. They're kind of grayed out. You've got the star and you've got this curved arrow. The curved arrow is a reply, and if you hover your mouse over it, it'll say reply to Craig Tech, or Tech. Sorry about that if I'm butchering your name. And the star will put this in your favorites right over here. So let's go ahead and do this, and then hit reply. Now, one thing I need to mention too about typing in tweets, keep them short, to the point, naturally, and I'm going to cover some of our Twitter etiquette, or at least my own Twitter etiquette, in my humble opinion, here in just a few minutes. But I want to mention, though, that if you have some important information, or you're passing on a URL or a link to some quality information, try not to take up the entire 140 characters. Keep it short and simple, because it makes things a lot easier for some of your followers to what they call retweet. That's this RT, for example. And what happens with that is that kind of makes your post viral. You post it one time, and then because of the quality of that post, others that are following you will repost that or retweet that. And then folks that are following that follower, maybe unbeknownst to you, you've never seen them and they've never known of you, they pick up on that and then they actually retweet it. I mean, there's no time limit on the number of retweets. I mean, it could just float around the Twitterverse forever if it's high quality. So again, don't use up all the space if you don't have to, especially in those instances when you've got some quality information or URL, and especially if that URL is pointed to quality information on your blog. Keep that in mind. Okay, so we'll just now hit reply. You see, here we are. And it's possible that they might reply to this, may not, and in which case you will see it here. And you can also check here later. We hit replies. Sorry, we couldn't find anything matching. Okay, so there's nothing in our replies box just yet. Now, if we check out our direct messages, yep, it's just the one from Kevin from the other day. And it's got the date right down here. And you can send this to the garbage can if you want, or you can send Kevin a message. And here it shows all those that were sent. So far we haven't sent any. But that's going to change, because I'm also, one of the other tools I'm going to show you here in an upcoming video is how we can automate some of this following business. And another reason behind us creating our own Google email account, because that's going to be tied into not just this one application I'm going to show you, but it can easily be tied into several applications, some of which I won't have time to show you. But speaking of Google Mail, I'm going to go ahead and click on Home. And then I'm going to check out that Google email box